In part 1, we started to assemble a program to draw an image. Here's the sketch we've been working from, and here's box 1, which we've already taken care of. Now, it's time to work out how to draw box number 2. There it is. And once again, we just sort of read off the numbers. It looks to me like it's 80 units from the left and 220 units down. And I drew this as a square, so it's 100 by 100. So we just type all that in. So one by one, we just read off the coordinates off of the drawing and type them in. You'll notice that for ellipses 6 and 7, I've actually drawn a little plus sign in the middle because I know that when I type in the ellipse, it wants the center X and center Y. And so I can just read off the coordinates of that plus sign. It also made them easier to draw. So, okay, if we type all of these in one after the other, let's just do a sanity check and make sure we typed everything in right. So here's my program that I get just by eyeballing the picture and typing in each of the objects one after the other after the other. We've got 5 boxes, 2 ellipses. I haven't changed any of the style information. Let's go ahead and run it and see what we get. Okay, we have 2 problems at least. The first is one of the boxes has the wrong height. You can see the box on the far right is not going all the way down to the bottom the way it should. The second is the big circle is in front of everything else, and I want it behind everything else. So how do I make that circle go behind everything? Well, processing doesn't really have any built-in notion of in front of or behind. It just draws one thing after the other, each new thing going in front of everything that came before. So if I want the big circle to be in back, I simply need to draw it first, and then everything else will be on top of it. So I have 2 things to do. The first is I have to push the circle to the back. The second is I have to fix that rectangle. Let's do these in 2 steps. First, I'll move the circle to the back. I will grab the comment for the ellipse and the ellipse command, copy, I'll cut them, come up to the top of the program and paste them. And I'll get rid of that blank line. It's not doing us any good. Now I'm drawing the ellipse first. And if I run the program, I should see that thing in the back. Great. Now we have that box that's sticking down halfway. I want to stick down all the way. In this simple example, we know exactly which box that is. We even know its number. It's no problem. But suppose that we had a scene with a bajillion boxes, or we lost track of the picture. How would we identify that box? One way I like to do it is I give everything on the screen a garish color, which is okay because eventually I'm going to give them real colors anyway, so I'm not really wasting that much effort. And then I can just spot each object by color. Let me show you what I mean. So I'll go up to the first ellipse and I will overwrite the default style. I'll give it some crazy color, like bright red. And then box 1, I'll call it bright green. Box 2 will be pure blue. These are just bright garish colors. And I will simply stick a bright color just before each object. And you can see I'm just sort of mixing up my values of 0 and 255. After you've played with colors long enough, you'll begin to develop a whole bunch of, oops, I'm writing print instead of fill. So I'll fix that. You'll develop a whole bunch of colors that you can kind of pull out of your hat when you need to create a bunch of different colors. So let's now run this program where every rectangle and every ellipse has had a color associated with it first. Okay, it looks horrible, but that's what we knew. But we can see that it's the cyan box that is the wrong one. Well, that's fine. We can spot that now just visually. We know that cyan is green and blue. So if we just look through the colors, aha, there's the color that's no red, but it's green and it's blue. So this is another way for us to find the box that made the problem. And if I go back to my picture, I'll see I made a typo here. That should have been 180. Now if I go back and I run the program again, great. We fixed it. So now I'm going to try to get a little bit more creative about the colors. I need to choose some colors. I'm going to go to my favorite color choosing website and pick some nice colors. So here's a nice palette of 5 brown colors that I like, and I've chosen to put a light blue background behind the picture. So let's do 2 things in this sketch. First, let's put in a comment that identifies what this is. So my first picture, Andrew and version 1. Now I'll put in my background color, which I got off of playing around with the sliders and cooler, and I liked that color. And now one by one, I'm going to change each of the colors for each object until I have a nice arrangement of colors. So through the magic of editing, you don't have to watch me type all that stuff, but you can see that each object has a comment, a fill color, and then I give a comment to describe the color, and then I draw the object, and then I draw the next one, and the next one, and so forth. So okay, let's run this picture. Great. So that's just about what I was going for. I'll tell you what, just for one more variation, let's get rid of the strokes around the ellipses. Now remember, the first ellipse comes at the very beginning of the program. So just before I even declare the fill color, I'll say no stroke. That can come anywhere before we draw the ellipse. But we don't draw the next ellipse until the very end. The next thing we draw is the box, and I want the box to have the stroke again. So I'm going to come down just after the box comment, and I'm going to tell it to draw strokes in black, which is the default, which is what it's been doing all along. But in this program, I just turned strokes off. So now I've turned strokes back on with a black color, and everything will be drawn with a black stroke until I turn strokes off again just before drawing the final ellipse. Now if I run this program, great, I've turned the strokes off of the ellipses. So there you go. You know how to turn a drawing into a program. You know how to set up the colors and the styles and the lines. You're ready to go crazy and create graphics.